My 24F sisters, 29F boyfriend, 26M, tested positive for COVID. He asked if he could stay in my house. I said no. Now I'm feeling guilty. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2.5 years. He's a depressive person, he's been through a lot, and in all the time we've been together I've had his back so much. I do everything I can for him, I help him with everything, whatever it is, I'm there. I just want to make clear that this is a huge factor in our relationship and in my mental health, since sometimes I found myself overcaring, overdoing things for him, and it affects me. Sometimes I'll act more like his mother than his GF, he told me that, and I know that's not right. So now, her sister, a doctor, has tested positive for COVID, and he asked me if he could stay in my house since he doesn't have the best relationship with her, plus he has several asthma. I told him no. Why? Well, I live with 8 people. My mother, 47F, who has hypertension, overweight and hypothyroidism. My dad, 54M, who just smokes a lot. My brother, 31M, and his daughter, 5F. My sister, 33F, her boyfriend, 29F, and their baby, 3 months, and my grandmother, 78F. And I'm sorry for the next part, but my native language is Spanish, so I'm doing my best redacting this based on the English that I've learned from school, movies, TV shows and music. I'll try my best to describe you how my house is. Basically we live all together. We have different houses in the same little piece of land. It's all really literally together. Until we have our own homes we're all always hanging out. My room is apart from my house, but I can be at my sister's, my grandmother's. We have a little patio where we do exercise. I mean, we all have our little space for ourselves, but that's not how things work here. We are always together. So, when my BF asked me if he could stay here, I immediately thought in my family and how dangerous would be for them if he's positive too. But at the same time I know how dangerous it is for him with his asthma to stay with her sister. But at the same time I know on the basic rules of this pandemic and QUARONTINE. I tried to talk with my mom and she did her best trying to calculate with me when this girl started to have symptoms and how many chances my BF had to be infected, etc. But at the end we both knew that the answer was no. Plus the last time we saw each other was on Saturday morning, today is Tuesday, when he went home. He was at my house since Thursday. So now I have to think that I may be infected too. Anyways, I know I did the right decision for my family. I'm always gonna choose to protect them and I wouldn't forgive myself if something happens. But at the same time I can't stop thinking in the fact that my BF could be not infected yet and I'm throwing him to the wolves. With his asthma and everything it would kill me if something happens to him and I could have prevented it. So I'm feeling like I did the right thing, but at the same time I'm feeling guilty. Lately I haven't been in cloud 9 with my BF, his depression issues and my mother behavior had started to be a real issue, and now this. I think it is, did I do the right thing? How can I not feel guilty? How can I let go this overprotective behavior towards him? Edit. My BF has his own room and her sister has her own room where she can quarantine. They'll be using just the same bathroom and with his dad trying to clean everything. It's not like they live in a shoebox either. Too long didn't read. My sister's boyfriend tested positive for COVID. He asked if he could stay in my house, but I said no to protect my family. And now I'm having mixed feelings and guilt. I think it's cause I developed an overprotective attitude towards him. Recognize that you were in a situation with no good solution. Sometimes life is like that. It is just a terrible situation. You made a choice, the one you thought was best, and now all you can do is hope it was the best choice. You're not a bad person for being in a situation where every option endangers somebody close to you. He is likely already infected if he was sharing living spaces normally with an infected person. To bring an infected person into a household of elderly, ill people and children would be grossly irresponsible. I understand he's scared due to his asthma, but that ship has sailed. All he's been doing is infecting more vulnerable people. Your family should also all get tested, and you personally should also isolate from the rest of your family. You did the right thing. He needs to assume he is already infected and quarantine himself. but he should also try his best not to catch it from his sister and keep from getting it if he hasn't already. Median time for symptoms to appear after infection is 5 days. I hope this helps with your timelines. I thought I had it earlier this year and had an actual calendar that I used to track exposures. Better safe than dead. Your family is your first priority. Guilt is not a factor in this. Don't play roulette because you don't want to hurt his feeling. Honesty, the fact that he asked at all is no cool to me. Consider your family dynamic, that closeness is your bubble. My 40F husband, 41 meters, is extremely emotionally manipulative, including with his bio children. We've been married 3 years and he has 2 children, young teenagers, from his previous marriage who stay with us half-time. I find him to be very manipulative and he can be quite immature at times. It really bothers me when he acts this way with his kids, but I don't really get involved because they are his children. He doesn't have a good co-parenting relationship with their mom, so that leads to all sorts of issues. Now that they are teenagers, he's kind of putting them in the middle in a way. For example, he was away on business a couple of days last week, so he didn't get part of his allotted time with them. He asked if he could have 2 extra days this week to make up with it. Their mom said no. So he then tells them they are old enough to decide for themselves if they want to stay with him to make up those 2 days. Honestly, I feel it should be okay for them to stay with us 2 extra days as their mom works during the day anyway, but she's very difficult with him and doesn't get along with him, so rarely gives an inch. Both kids are people pleasers and just want everyone to be happy. Their mom said no, and it is technically her allotted time, so they said no. They were just going to stay with her. This devastated him. That's another issue. He's always getting so hurt and so upset by the kids. It honestly drives me a bit nuts. He then basically gave them an ultimatum. If they weren't going to come over, then he doesn't want to see them at all for the whole week, thereby giving up his scheduled time with them. I've kind of had it with this behavior, but I don't know how to broach the subject without making things worse, or even what to say. He's an adult man who is far too easily devastated by pretty normal behavior by teenage kids. He's constantly getting so depressed if they don't appear to want to spend every moment they can with him. And as he loses control of them more, in other words, they are likely to say okay if he offers an ultimatum these days, he gets more depressed. He also will try to use me as the go-between, asking me to text his kids if they don't text him if they are in a fight, asking me to try to mediate, to smooth things over, to suggest to the kids that they should apologize. I also dislike these ultimatums because they almost feel like emotional manipulation and abuse. These are kids, 13 and 16. He's behaving kind of unstable. I don't have kids of my own. Parents, is this normal behavior for a parent? If not, how do I discuss it with him without making it worse? Too long didn't read. My partner's behavior towards his kids sometimes feels yucky and manipulative. No, this is not normal behavior. And after reading this, I'm kind of wondering what you even see in this man. He sounds like a giant, manipulative child. What are you getting out of this relationship? Yeah, no wonder his kids are people pleasers. Apparently upsetting their father can lead to him having tantrums. I'm kind of disgusted. When he approaches you again to mediate, read, use you for further manipulation, sit him down and explain to him that you won't get involved again, especially not when he gives his kids non-stop ultimatums. Explain that it's manipulative and he needs to stop doing it every time they want to do something else than what he wants. See if he reacts to you in that same way. It's also a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more he does this, the more his kids are going to take note and want to spend less and less time with him. Oh dear. You have married a very fragile man. What a delicate ego he must have that the whole world needs to bend to him so he can feel good. You need to sit him down and explain that he is coming across scared and insecure. Yes, he is manipulating them. But if you lift the curtain of toxicity, he is just a scared little boy. Does that mean you should pity him and baby him? No. It means that he needs to see a therapist to get to the root of his insecurity so that he can stop weaponizing it. If he was truly comfortable in his own world, he wouldn't play these games. I also dislike these ultimatums because they almost feel like emotional manipulation and abuse. They are emotional manipulation and abuse. Don't downplay this. Your husband is harming his children. Anyone else experiencing relationship burnout from working for home together? I, 25M, and my GF, 25, have been working from home since they sent her home in March. I realized today that I am getting frustrated sharing this living space and feeling like I want to do my own thing. Like we're starting to have disagreements about the simplest things. I want the fan off at night BC it fucks up my throat but she wants it on BC she gets hot, stuff like that. I don't like feeling this way, but I want what I want and she wants what she wants and they're different things. I'm tired of compromising and so is she lol. I can feel it with her too. But we love each other. Not sure what I'm getting at. I don't really have any questions but I guess just wanna hear what's going on with y'all. TL Doctor, working from home related relationship burnout getting annoyed at each other over differing preferences. Wondering what to do. If she wants the fan on, get a humidifier for your throat. You should both make a conscious effort to do more things alone. Do a workout in the park, go on a solo walk, work at a coffee shop or rent a co-workspace for a day, maybe even visit your family for a week or so. Make time to miss each other. Then the small stuff won't seem so monumental. I wake up early to have my alone time, and he goes to bed later to have his alone time. We have discovered how helpful this was when his sister started staying here and neither of us have alone time now. Smiley face. The symptoms are the issues like the fan. There is a compromise, a small fan aimed just at her side, throat spray for you. But the problem seems to be lack of alone time and space. Can you separate your workspaces? Can you go for a walk? Can you move to a bigger place? Think of it as you two versus the problem and brainstorm solutions. It's not you against her. Good luck. This is so normal. I lived with my boyfriend for the strict lockdown so we could see each other, and I was feeling stirk crazy by the end. Not because I don't love him, but because usually two people in a relationship will get to have their alone time, work outside the house, the commute, hobbies, seeing other friends, etc. The pandemic changed all that and you're just living and working on top of each other constantly. Doesn't mean your relationship is doomed or things won't improve when stuff is a little more normal. Best of luck. I'm off to be super mad about how my boyfriend makes the bed slightly differently to how I like it. Ha.